I beg your pardon? That was the wrong logo.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Mustard Boy, back again with yet another video. You know how I mentioned that Scary Logos Companies thing a while back? Yeah, well, that idea got scrapped because I had way too much things on my hands, so yeah, that thing is not gonna happen. So instead, I'm going to stick to what I like doing best, making top 10 lists about logos that I absolutely hate. 'Cause he needed more of that. Yeah. Now, I just want to clarify that this was originally supposed to be a collaborative project that Kai and I were supposed to be doing, but we never really got around to finishing it because, well, scheduling conflicts. So a lot of the choices on this list are technically ones that both Kai, the logo guy, and I have chosen, along with some extras that I've decided to add in so I could keep my list, well, my list. Kai, I am so sorry about this. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and probably grab some bleach too, as we count down the most seizure-inducing, ear-destroying, mind-screwing pieces of fecal matter ever to scrape the earth. Roll it.
God help us all. Heavens are too far. Stay by my side. The sky rips over. Don't wait.
Now, in order for a logo to make the list, there had to be a damn good excuse for why it deserved to be number 10. And, to be honest, I could have easily made this a tie if I wanted to, because so many logos have the capability of being number 10 on this list. But this one in particular really pushed my buttons to the point where I absolutely hated it. Number 1, it's so freaking seizure-inducing. I can't even tell if this logo is supposed to take place either in the sky or underwater, because there's just too much freaking chrome everywhere. And second, this logo had the audacity to steal the music, particularly the main theme, from a fistful of dollars. That alone makes this logo worthy of the number 10 spot. So all in all, this seizure-inducing music thief from Germany absolutely had to make the list.
It's over. Don't wait.
Now, I know that a lot of people are probably going to think that this is a strange choice for the list, but just hear me out for why I have to put this at number 9. First of all, the quality is so horrible that I wouldn't have a hard time questioning whether or not if it was a low-budget company that made this. Second, the color scheme. Who in the blue hell, as Dwayne Johnson would say, thought that that kind of greenish-bluish color and blood red would go together? And third, and this is the biggest factor out of all of them, the mask. The mask is so deformed and so ugly that it makes my eyes question what I'm even looking at. Not to mention, the V of Doom style of zooming in makes this logo not only worse in terms of its animation, but also a hell of a lot scarier than it needs to be. Which makes me think, why didn't I add this to the scary logos list? But yeah, poor execution, poor animation, and poor concept. I'm done with this logo. Moving on.
It's over.
Now, I didn't originally want to put this on the list, but then I realized this one just had to be mentioned for how bizarre it is. We start out with what looks like ripples on a purple background, then we see dots, like multicolored dots appearing everywhere, and cam video, the text just zooms in. Then we cut to this was sun expanding into a red giant or something, and then presents just forms. See? See? That's the kind of bizarre that I'm talking about. This logo makes zero sense on top of being gaudy and seizure inducing. So, yeah, no wonder it made this list.
It's all right.
Good God, this is one of the most bland things I've ever seen in my life. Like, yeah, I've seen worse than this, but God, this is just lazy. Especially coming from a PBS station out of all things. Kai the logo guy keeps mentioning KWSU as possibly the worst PBS logo ever to exist, but at least KWSU had animation, like actual movement in the text, and whatever the orb thing was, I don't know. This has barely anything. It's just text on a black background. And when it cuts to in association with, that's the only moment of interest that you'll ever get from this logo. Seriously, if you're gonna make a logo, especially one from a PBS station, at least try, for God's sake.
It's all right.
Where do I begin with this? Well, I guess we might as well start with the animation. It looks like a freaking high school CGI student mess. The ground being black and yellow pixels doesn't help, as it can give people freaking seizures. And the fact that the runner's whole body is orange just adds to the whole cheap factor of this logo. Oh yeah, and who can forget? Why is the sky green? What's the story supposed to be? Some athlete running in a nuclear wasteland? And to top the shit pile all off, the ground changes when the text slides in. This logo makes no goddamn sense whatsoever.
It's all right.
Oh my lord. Greece made the list twice. Where's Argentina in all of this? Like, seriously, how can I even begin to explain what this logo is? We start with fireworks, we then cut to shitty flower shit, then we cut to trailing effects that are so glitchy that they might as well cause seizures and epilepsy. Then we cut to a black background with the logo and the phone number, which you shouldn't call, by the way, because it's not in service. Then we cut back to the trailing shit. And then, what does it do after that? It cuts back to the stupid footage of fireworks. Like, what kind of sense does this logo even make? It's like someone was on this bizarre, very intense acid trip when they were making this, and they just thought, hey, I need to put all of my experiences of all of this trippy shit onto one logo. Apparently, Photo Video was this company that supposedly turned camera memories of like weddings or concerts or other family vacations, stuff like that, and then they would put them on video cassette, which might explain why it's so terrible. I don't know. Again, This logo makes no sense. There's no cohesive narrative. The animation itself is pretty gaudy and terrible. Not to mention seizure-inducing, like I've said multiple times before. And then the music, which, I don't know, might have been stolen or something like that, is just so... it's weird. Like, I can't actually think that they might have purposefully added it into the logo, just to add to the whole trippy factor. It's like weird vaporwave sort of stuff. And one final thing. This logo is so long. I literally had to cut out like 40 or 50 seconds of it just to show it to you in the preview. But if you have the audacity to check the whole thing out, by all means do it. I'm not gonna judge you. I know I won't be doing it again.
It's over.
Oh boy, where do I begin with this 4-second piece of monstrosity ever to come from Pakistan? Well, I guess I'll start with the music and sound effects. First of all, the roar at the beginning sounds more like a loud shotgun than it does an actual roar. And, quite frankly, that gave me a freaking jump scare! Also, the fanfare, when we get to the middle of the logo, sounds absolutely terrible. Even by 1950s logo standards. Seriously, Play Pictures looks like a freaking masterpiece compared to this. And speaking of looks, let's talk about the animation. First of all, what the hell is with the film scratches? This makes the logo look more dated than it really needs to be, even by Pakistan logo standards. And I don't understand why there has to be looped pictures of lions or whatever the animal is, like, around the picture of the lion in the middle. That makes absolutely no freaking sense. And to top the, once again, shit pile all off, the whole thing is off-center, the background is red, and films is spelled incorrectly. Seriously, I kind of like to know who made this and how this was even acceptable in 2016. Because this is just freaking ridiculous.
It's over.
What the hell did I just witness? This is one of the most boring logos I have ever seen in my life. Not to mention one of the most lazy that I've ever seen in my life. All you're seeing is just the camera zooming out from these cards saying Boyd's videos and video films. And then there's a purple screen to cover up the fact that the cards are actually being switched, because as you can see on the right hand side of the screen, the purple screen doesn't actually cover up the second card very well anyway. And that's really it. You're not really getting much out of it. It's just one of the worst excuses for a home video logo I've ever seen in my life. This is the kind of thing you get when a company isn't trying anymore, and they're just resorting to creating the bare minimum of what can be considered a good logo. And it's not even good to begin with. It's just cheesy and terrible. And while it may not be the worst logo of all time, as we've got 2 more to go, it's definitely up there with the worst logos of all time. Anyway, moving on. I'm sick of it.
It's over.
Oh my god. I don't even want to touch this. Screw it. First off, the symbol that you're seeing is seizure-inducing. It switches multiple colors, and that's not a very good idea, since, And then we also have the symbol spinning around, since, well, it's not a good idea to have it spin around, because, the thing, it can cause people to be easily offended. And the music is so loud and bombastic that it matches with the whole traumatizing experience. And even though the symbol originally meant good luck, it means something else entirely because of horrible historical context. So, yeah, no wonder I put it at number 2. But why is it number 2 instead of number 1, you ask? Well, luckily number 1 isn't offensive, but we'll get to it in a second, but it's just really horrible in its quality. But yeah, this definitely deserves a mention nevertheless. Be thankful you're not number 1, Videastri Pictures.
It's alright.
Als u eens een avond per week iets anders wilt horen dan u gewend bent om te horen, dan moet u dat wel laten merken.
It's alright.
Well, this is it. The worst of the worst. Get ready to be triggered, folks. Oh my effing God. This is the most boring, cheesy, bottom of the barrel logo I've ever seen in my life. This logo is void of any effort whatsoever. There's no music whatsoever. There's no animation at all. It's just a still photo of something that was created with Microsoft Paintbrush, which you can clearly see by the computer interface and the toolbar on the left-hand side. And that's it. You don't get anything else from this logo. It's just 20 seconds of nothingness, basically. In fact, it's so boring that I might as well add some random effects so that you're still entertained by this. A lot of people are probably gonna wonder why I chose this over Fadio. But hear me out on the whole Fadio situation. First off, Fadio's already been talked about many times. It doesn't need to be talked about again. Second, although Fadio did steal from a lot of properties, which really pisses me off, they did actually try to create something that was entertaining and engaging. Something that moved, had sound, and actually stimulated the mind while it was still playing. Video Bancorp, meanwhile, has nothing. No animation, no sound, no nothing. This is not even a logo. It's a still photo. It's a stupid excuse for a logo, which is why in the name of my home country, logos in general, and the logo community, I am going to tear down the castle of the Video Bancorp once and for all. What a beautiful sight. But you know what? I actually had a lot of fun making this list, believe it or not. Although there were many other logos I could have talked about, like Harlech, Rex Films Home Video, Mr. Video, or just any other well-known horrible logo out there, I just didn't really have time to, unfortunately. But if you'd like me to make a part 2, or just if you have any other list ideas, then feel free to let me know in the comments section. And as always, like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Alright, well, I've been Scary Entertainment Nostalgia Fun. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye, people. That alone makes it a worthy opponent at number 10. Okay, well, I don't know if opponent is the right word to use, but I think you get the picture. And to top the, once again, shit pile all off, Films is spelled miscorrectly. Oh, and the whole thing is off-center. All you're really seeing is just cards being presented to you on the screen and a camera zooming out from them, then a purple screen which is so poorly put in that, as you could probably see on the right hand side of the screen, doesn't actually cover up most of the card anyway, because I really need to get my words straight today. Luckily, number 1 isn't offensive, but it's, well, we'll get to it in a second, but it's just really horrible in its quality. But yeah, this one deserves... Fake plastic cobra?